My Lord, Honorable Justice Ejembieko JSC retired, our dear President of Nigerian Bar Association, our distinguished State Attorneys General here present, our distinguished members of the inner and the outer bar, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great pleasure to be in your midst to address you on this pivotal topic to our nation's progress and prosperity, strengthening local government autonomy in Nigeria, a dialogue on the impact of the implementation of the Supreme Court judgment. I must state that this topic is quite opposite to the current times, in that there is no better time to engage ourselves as members of the bar on this topic than now. Therefore, I thank the Nigerian Bar Association for coming up with this discourse and having me here. There is no argument regarding the vital role the local governments play in our democratic system and the potential they hold to drive sustainable development, foster inclusivity, and enhance the quality of life for all Nigerians. Since the pre-colonial times in the history of Nigeria, government has always been close to the people through well-documented traditional institutions that governed the Nigerian people across the various ethnic groups. The 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as amended, in Section 7, institutionalized local governments as the third tier of the government in Nigeria. The courts, especially the Supreme Court, have time and time again pronounced on the duty of the federal and state governments to recognize and impose the federal structure enshrined in the Constitution, which recognizes the constitutional position of local governments in Nigeria by mandating all state governments to ensure the continuity of local governments in their states. However, it is quite unfortunate that over the last few decades in Nigeria, in plain contravention of the constitutional mandate on state governments, local governments have only seen a great decline, as they are now nothing but a mere appendage of the state governments, merely existing as a means of supplying extra funds for the state governments, as opposed to being the grassroots government to cater to the immediate needs of the people. Primary health care and education, environmental sanitation, care of the markets, maintenance of street light, etc., all of which are within the purview of local government in Nigeria, have now been completely taken over by state governments, and what is worse, become neglected and abandoned too. It is therefore no surprise that Nigeria keeps appearing at the top of the worst global index in all these areas. The most unfortunate of the decline is the unconstitutional connivance by state governors and their state houses of assemblies to willy-nilly dismantle democratically elected local government structures without recourse to the rule of law, and replacing them with their candidates. Local government structures had almost become extinct in Nigeria, and that necessitated the action taken by the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is a lover of democracy and rule of law, to immediately intervene through the filing of a suit at the Supreme Court in May 2024. I, on behalf of the Federation, took the Attorneys General of the 36 states in Nigeria to the Supreme Court in its original jurisdiction and sought for declarations towards the complete emancipation of local governments in Nigeria today. Thankfully, the Supreme Court, in its ultimate wisdom, granted all the reliefs we presented before it, and among the crucial pronouncement of the Apex Court regarding the independence of local governments in Nigeria was that Section 1, Sub 2 of the 1999 Constitution provides that no person or group of persons shall take control of the government of any part of Nigeria contrary to the provisions of the Constitution. By virtue of Section 1 sub 2 and 7 sub 1 of the 1999 Constitution, local government must be by democratically elected local government councils and no other body. And the government or administration of a local government area by a state government, governor of a state, local government caretaker committee, interim local government council, administrator, head of local government, or by whatever name called, or by any other state agency or other body is not in accordance with the 1999 Constitution, is therefore unconstitutional, illegal, and of no effect. Another groundbreaking pronouncement of the court is concerning the financial independence of the local governments when it held that Section 162 sub 5 of the 1999 Constitution merely provides for a method or procedure of getting the money, getting the amount distributed to local government councils under Section 162 sub 3. Subsection provides that it should be given to the states to take to them. And subsection provides that for this purpose, the state shall maintain a special account called State Joint Local Government Accounts, into which the state shall pay the allocation to local government councils from the federation account and revenue from the government of the state. Thus, Section 162 sub 5 merely appointed the states, agents of the federation, to collect local government allocations from the federation account and pay to them, but does not give the states any right or interest in the state allocations to the local government councils from the federation account. The duty of the state is to simply convey to the local government councils the allocations from the federation account. The Constitution does not give the states any right or interest in the allocations to a local government council from federation account. The above pronouncement clearly establishes the autonomy of local governments in Nigeria and signals a hard-fought and won victory for governance in the grassroots. And we thank the Supreme Court for its boldness in giving power to the provisions of the Constitution. Aftermath of the judgment. Following the Supreme Court judgment granting total autonomy to the local governments in Nigeria and the injunction of the court to all governments in Nigeria to immediately implement the judgment, the federal government immediately set up an implementation committee comprising of representatives of the federal government, ALGON, and Nigerian Governors Forum. This committee has been working assiduously at coming up with the most practicable framework for the full implementation of the judgment, especially regarding direct payment of allocations from the federation account to local government councils. The committee is expected to complete its mandate anytime from now and present its recommendation to Nigerians. It is, however, imperative to state that despite the judgment of the Supreme Court outlawing the illegal removal of democratically elected local government councils by state governors, it is quite unfortunate that few states have continued to flagrantly carry on with this illegality. Let me state in unequivocal terms that this act is tantamount to treason and must be treated as such. Now, while it is true that Section 308 of the Constitution grants the governor immunity from prosecution, I wish to be clear that this flagrant disobedience to Supreme Court judgment will have unpleasant consequences for the state as a whole, should it persist. More importantly, I must reiterate here, at this significant gathering, considering the presence of state attorneys general and other important stakeholders, that we all have a moral duty as ministers in the temple of justice to promote the rule of law and respect for our courts. There is a worrisome trend in the legal profession these days, where lawyers, including the state attorneys general, allow their clients and political leaders to dictate the law to them when it should be the other way around. This is quite unbecoming of gentlemen of the bar, and it must be addressed and reversed immediately. We must all remember that we owe a duty to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria before our political allegiances. Every state in Nigeria has an attorney general. Therefore, the failure of states to the local government structures in their states, in my opinion, can be attributed to the complete dereliction of duty by the attorneys general to the rule of law they swore to uphold. We must always be courageous as lawyers to always give the correct legal advice to politicians who believe they have the right to breach the sacred provisions of the Constitution, regardless of the grim repercussion. Again, let me remind us that we are all servants of the law and our duty is to defend the Constitution always. I therefore call on everyone present here today to lend their support to the full actualization of the full autonomy of local governments in Nigeria in line with the mandate of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Most importantly, local governments must also wake up to their constitutional duties by being accountable to the citizens, constantly improving themselves in areas of administration and capacity building of their staff, and constant community engagement to improve trust and transparency. There is no room for babysitting the third tier of the government anymore. There must be concerted efforts by ALGON to continue to improve the technical capacities of local government workers across Nigeria to be able to rise up to the humongous tasks ahead of them. Local government council must be seen to be alive with a reformed civil service structure and executing more impactful projects that would bring respite to the people in the grassroots, for whose sake this fight was won. I wish to once again congratulate the Nigerian Bar Association on this auspicious occasion and wish you all a most fruitful deliberation. Thank you all.